Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Bengal Tiger Podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me today is Aneesah Morrow, All-American player forward for the LSU women's basketball team. Aneesah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I got some of these numbers before we got on here, and obviously your stats throughout your career are incredible. Your first 2 years at DePaul, you come over to LSU, averaged 16 and a half points, 10 boards, 21 double doubles last year. But you are the number one player in the country and active players in rebounding this year. Does it make you feel like a vet when you hear, those career numbers, the number one in rebounding, number three in scoring amongst active players?
I wouldn't say I feel like a vet. When I hear those numbers, honestly, I just think about my first day of practice at DePaul and calling my mother and just like, I don't know if I could do this because of the conditioning and just the intensity was so different. And just taking on that challenge and pushing myself to strive for better, but also being consistent. And I feel like over my 4 years of college, you get to see the consistency on the basketball floor in the academics. Just overall.
Yeah. I know out of high school, I mean, you had a great career in high school and whatnot. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you weren't like the most recruited player out of high school. What was that like to kind of navigate and just kind of always be kind of not an underdog, but having to, find your role, find your place?
For me, I would say just keeping faith, just trusting in my parents. My parents helped me throughout the whole process. I would say the reason why I wasn't highly recruited was because of injury when I was younger,
Hmm.
having knee surgery and everything like that, kind of being off the circuit a
Yeah.
little bit for a minute, but I took that as a challenge. One thing that I always pride myself off is nobody will ever know that I'm injured or had a knee surgery. And I feel like I play like that. A lot of people wouldn't be able to tell if they watch me play. But just staying to the course and staying focused on what I want to accomplish. And I know that that took some days of just having different responsibilities and having my priorities figured out kind of younger than a lot of people in my age were doing.
Yeah. And then you enter the portal, and so that your visit to LSU was big. Everybody was all excited about that. Did that feel like your first like real like major like recruitment? Like, oh my gosh, like I'm on the map, and everybody's kind of talking about me in that way.
Yes, I would say that was the biggest recruitment for me, of course, because when I was recruited coming out of high school, it was COVID. So I didn't really
Yeah,
get the full experience and I wanted to stay close to home. You just never knew what would happen with COVID. But actually getting the experience that I had and seeing the love from all the schools was just something that I kind of look back on still to this day. Like a lot of people would never be able to say they got that opportunity to be recruited, but that highly recruited.
yeah. And then real quick, talk about last year. What was the challenge of trying to fit in on a team with that much star power and that much talent, but then also like being yourself at the same time, where you did have an effective season?
For me, it's never about fitting in.
Hmm.
Um, for me, it's just about being myself within an environment. You could be uncomfortable majority of the time, but you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's kind of what last year was for me. Of course, coming to a new university, a big university at that, having all of these sports and a major campus and major teams and the just the internet as well. Like just seeing how social media was. It was just a very eye opening for me, and it was opening experience that I welcomed. And I was like, okay, I'm ready for the task. I'm going to take it on. I'm about to, put my name on the map and just continue to be consistent. I feel like was the main thing for me to not let an environment just kind of adapting, trying to adapt to my environment, but also be consistent and stay true to myself.
Yeah, I like how you phrase that. It's more of adapting than it is like fitting in
Yeah.
to a degree, which is different. Um, yeah, I was obviously I covered the team. I follow every game and whatnot, and I went back in last year's schedule again, looked at it, and that trip to the Cayman Islands where obviously Somaya goes down, which sucks. And but Angel's not there, and it was kind of like your coming out party to a degree. I think it was like 30 points and 16 rebounds, something along those lines in those games. What do you remember about those games and kind of having that kind of breakout performance?
Um, I talked to Coach G about this, and we kind of laugh about it still to this day. It felt like DePaul. Like it felt like
Mm,
I was back at playing like the Paul ball.
Yeah.
And for me, just kind of looking back on it, I was relaxed. You know, even when I told you when I came here, things were I was uncomfortable being. I was comfortable being uncomfortable. I felt like that was my moment right there, where I could actually open up my game and just play as freely as I wanted to.
Yeah. Did you ever have like a what's your first memory of Kim Mulkey like in a practice setting, or did you have like a welcome to Kim Mulkey type of a moment early on?
Um, I would just say honestly, it would just be like her intensity in practice.
Yeah.
And that's kind of every day. So I would say the first day of practice, you know,
You
you
just
get
got
to,
used to it
yeah, you just
eventually?
get used to it. But
Yeah.
me, the type of player that I am, I'm kind of quiet. And coach knew that. So a lot of things weren't really said to me when I first got here. She was like, okay, I'm trying to, we trying to gauge each other. Of course, she recruited me. But at the
Yeah.
same time, being in that environment, on the basketball court was a lot different.
Yeah. You kind of mentioned you're a little quieter. Obviously you're really passionate on the court. What has it been like for you now going into this fourth season, trying to be a little bit more vocal, a little bit more of a leader? Obviously, Angel's gone. Just what is that kind of mindset like for you? How do you approach that?
Yeah. I've sat down and talked to coach all the time about it. She told me she wanted me to be more of a vocal leader. She wants me to she knows that I lead by example and my teammates will follow, but she wants me to be more verbal. And that's something that I've been working on in practice. I've gotten a lot better at it actually.
That's good.
And just seeing that growth and just feeling comfortable, your coaches are putting that, how would I say, confidence in you. They're pouring that confidence in you to be more vocal and be more of a leader. And for me, I'm taking on a challenge, like I said, to be the best teammate that I can, to be the captain that I need to be because I know my teammates will love to play with me. I want to be that teammate where if it's a 2-on-2 and you got one more person to pick, you want to that I'm the first person you want to pick on your team. Just being able to go out there and play hard and be vocal and just be able to help my teammates.
Yeah. Um, where did the rebounding tenacity come from for you?
Um, I would say in high school, when I came back from tearing my ACL, I couldn't move as fast as I was, so they took me off the perimeter. My mother was my high school coach, and they
Mhm.
put me in the post. I wasn't the tallest, like even now, I'm not the tallest in the
Mhm.
post, but I was like, I used to complain to her and be like, I can't get the ball, like I can't get the ball. And she like, well, I know how you could get the ball. You can either get the ball from a rebound or a steal. So I try to pride myself on defending and rebounding so I could be able to get the ball. So I don't want to complain about, oh, I didn't get this pass, I didn't get this.
Yeah.
So just growing up and maturing within the game, a rebound doesn't hurt your team. A steal doesn't hurt your team. So just doing things on that are unselfish on my team.
Yeah. You mentioned the steals. I had wrote a story last year about how you and Flage especially were just kind of like hounding teams like on the wings. I think it was one of for Kim Mulkey, it was like her highest steal percentage team or something like that. Did, was that something you could like sense, you could like feel with you and Flage, and obviously Angel as well as very switchable. Did you feel that last year that y'all were like, okay, we have this like core that's like really long and just can get after people?
I would say my IQ with that, since I've been working on it since high school, is very good. I try to bait a lot of my
Mm-hmm.
opponents into passing the ball and kind of paying attention to their body language, and of course in the film as well. I watch a lot of film and just see how my opponents are, and I feel like me and Flage kind of took that challenge on because she was like, "Yo, I'm gonna get more steals than you today," and I'm like, "No, you're not getting more steals than me today." So we kind of put that challenge, especially on the wing, and with me being able to switch off as well.
Yeah. It feels like everything in y'all's program is always built on like that little friendly competition that you'll have. Like you and Angel rebounds, you and Flage steals and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Over the off season, was there any part of your game that you were really focused on? I mean, like I really want to be better in this aspect compared to where I was last year.
I will honestly say first was taking care of my body better. Um, I feel like I do a good job with my diet and my nutrition and recovery, but I felt like I needed to take that to another level. So that's what I focused on a lot throughout the summer, but also knocking down shots with people in my face, coming off the dribble, coming off of ball screens, having the ball in my hand a lot more and dribbling.
Yeah, what was I know y'all lost to South Carolina at home. It was an incredible game, incredible atmosphere. Was that a moment for you that was kind of eye opening in terms of the crowd and just the atmosphere they all had there?
Yes, that game was probably, in my opinion, one of the best games, especially with our fans last year. I would kind of say that was a welcome to LSU moment for me. Honestly, that home game against South Carolina, the atmosphere was there. The everything was there. Coaches' outfits was there. It
Hmm.
was just overall like that LSU, like hello.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think for everybody that was like the one that was an incredible atmosphere. You hitting that three early on, it was like yeah, everything was going. Um, when we get to this year, what has it been like working with Simone Augustus, who's obviously, I mean, she has a statue in front of the building. What has it been like working with her and learning from her so far?
It's been great learning from her. I try to listen. I pride myself on listening and practice as much as I can because our coaches focus so much on details, and I feel like if I can get the little details right, then I could be able to beat my opponent in on any position. And I feel like that's something that Coach Money focus on details, details, details. And I know that that's something that they focus on in the league and how far she went and she's an All American. She's a Hall of Famer. Like she's done it all. So you want to listen to her. She comes in with this great energy every day. She's always trying to uplift you, tell you what you could do better. Your foot should have been there, or maybe you should have been in your position a little bit lower in your defensive stance, and that's the
Hmm.
reason why you got beat. So she's very good with teaching and just staying in the moment.
Yeah. Um, Obviously y'all get Somaya back this year, and we know how talented she is as a player. But you also, add players, a lot of transfers, three guard, yeah, Jersey as well. Just overall, how do you feel about this year's team? Just as y'all get started, and I mean, 3 weeks from an exhibition game, which is crazy. We're already here, but how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, great about this team. Honestly, I feel like we have a lot of pieces that we're putting together, but something that we lacked last year was speed, and we have speed. You have a lot of dogs on our team, a lot of players that play with a chip on their shoulder. Kind of went from other schools and came here, and they felt like they were that underdog, which you described me as earlier. So when you have a lot of underdogs that's coming together and playing together with a chip on their shoulder, I feel like some big things could be done.
Yeah, specifically with Samaya, how have you seen her get back from that injury? I mean, you mentioned you've gone through some knee injuries as well, and so has she. Just what has she been like as she's? I mean, I went and watched practice, and she looked like she was real. I mean, getting back into it.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed about Samaya is she stays very consistent in the training room.
Mm,
And I feel like that it will be the start of it all, staying consistent there. But I try to tell her, you got to be patient with yourself because it's not just going to happen right then and there. So Samaya looks good. She's running very good. She's able to jump off her feet. But there's some days where she might get a little on her head. And I'm like, you got to be patient. Like, we got to remember that it's a process. So I feel like that's really all with her, like just having a little bit more patience with herself.
yeah. Um, that's really most of what I had. Have you been on Flage's podcast yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh my! So Michaela got the call before you?
Yeah, I gotta talk to her about that too.
Jeez. Oh man, I thought I missed it. I thought I missed it. I said, surely Aneesah's been on. I mean, come
No.
on now, Flage. Gotta get going. But yeah, that's all I had. I appreciate you for coming on. I know you're busy. I know season's about to start. I just wanted to kind of talk to you about this season with LSU fans are obviously excited for it.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for coming on.
Of course.